October 25, 1944, Philippine Sea, east of Samar Island. Ensign William Brooks peered through binoculars from his Grumman TBF Avenger at 1,500 feet above gray waters, recording words into his radio that chilled every man in Task Unit 7743. "Those are not our ships." From his anti-submarine patrol, launched from escort carrier USS St. Lo, he spotted something defying all assumptions about the Japanese fleet's location. Pagoda masts rose on the horizon in dim morning light. The profile of the largest battleship ever built, Yamato, cut through mist, leading an armada of heavy cruisers and battleships steaming toward 6 small escort carriers with no means to stop them. Rear Admiral Clifton Sprague, commanding Task Unit 7743, had been assured. Admiral William Halsey's Third Fleet protected his northern flank. San Bernardino Strait between Luzon and Samar was supposedly blocked by American battleships. Yet at 0637, the Imperial Japanese Navy's center force materialized 4 battleships including Yamato, 6 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 11 destroyers against 6 escort carriers, 3 destroyers, and 4 destroyer escorts. Naval warfare mathematics rewrote themselves in decisions needing to be made in the next 60 seconds, triggering one of the most audacious actions in naval history as tiny destroyers and destroyer escorts charged battleships in a suicidal run that should never have succeeded. The road to this moment began months earlier as American forces advanced across the Pacific. By October 1944, the Philippines' liberation was inevitable. American forces invaded Leyte on October 20th, threatening Japan's access to Dutch East Indies oil fields and Southeast Asia's rubber plantations. Without these resources, Japan's war machine would collapse. The Imperial Japanese Navy devised Operation Shogo 1, a 3-pronged attack to destroy the American invasion fleet in Leyte Gulf. Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa led the northern force from Japan with 4 carriers, Zuikaku, Zuiho Chitose, and Chiyoda, carrying barely 100 aircraft with inexperienced pilots. This force was bait to lure Halsey's Third Fleet North Vice Admiral Shoji Nishimura, brought the southern force through Surigao Strait, with battleships Yamashiro and Fuso, heavy cruiser Mogami, and 4 destroyers. Vice Admiral Takeo Kurita commanded the center force, the most powerful element through San Bernardino Strait, to strike Leyte Gulf's transport ships. Yamato displaced 72 to 800 tons, with 9 181-inch guns firing 3,220-pound shells over 26 miles. Musashi, her sister ship, sailed alongside battleships Nagato Kongo, and Haruna added 14-inch and 16-inch guns. 10 heavy cruisers. Eitago, Takao, Miyachokai, Miyoko, Haguro, Kumano, Suzuya, Toni, and Chikuma mounted 8 or 10 8-inch guns. Light cruisers Noshiro and Yahagi screened with 6-inch batteries. 11 destroyers completed the force. American submarines began unraveling the plan. On October 23rd, USS Darter and USS Dace patrolled Palawan Passage, detecting Kurita's force. Darter's torpedoes sank Atago, Kurita's flagship, in 18 minutes, forcing him to swim in shark-infested waters. Takao was crippled, and Maya sank in. Minutes, Kurita transferred to Yamato and pressed eastward. On October 24th, Halsey's carrier aircraft attacked Kurita's force in the Sibuyan Sea. Musashi absorbed 19 torpedoes and 17 bombs, capsizing at 1935 with over 1,000 men. Kurita briefly retreated, but resumed course after nightfall, passing San Bernardino Strait unopposed at 0035 on October 25th. Halsey, chasing Ozawa's carriers, left the strait unguarded. Miscommunications led Admiral Thomas Kincaid to believe Task Force 34 was in place. No such force existed. Kurita's reduced but formidable force, 4 battleships, 6 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 11 destroyers headed south toward Leyte Gulf's undefended beaches. Only Taffy 1, Taffy 2, and Taffy 3 stood in the way. Taffy 3, under Sprague, had 6 Casablanca-class escort carriers, Fanshawe Bay, St. Lo, White Plains, Kalinin, Bay, Kitkun Bay, and Gambier Bay, each displacing 7,800 tons with 28 aircraft. 3 Fletcher-class destroyers, Johnston, Hoel, and Heermann, and 4 John C. Butler-class destroyer escorts Samuel B. Roberts, Dennis, John C. Butler, and Raymond screened them. These ships were designed for anti-submarine and escort duties, not surface combat against battleships. At 0637, Brooks spotted the Japanese force during his patrol descending to confirm pagoda masts. "Biggest meatball flag on the biggest battleship I ever saw," he radioed. Sprague initially doubted the report, believing it was Halsey's ships. At 0645, lookouts saw anti-aircraft bursts as Japanese ships fired on Brooks. Colored splashes from dye-marked shells erupted around the carriers. Yamato fired her first. Salvo at 0646. Sprague faced an impossible situation. His carriers couldn't need outrun the Japanese. His 5-inch guns could nihidi penetrate battleship armor. His aircraft carried ground support munitions, not armor-piercing weapons. The nearest heavy ships under Admiral Jesse Oldendorf were 90 miles south, depleted from Surigao Strait. Halsey was 300 miles north. Sprague had minutes to act. He ordered all aircraft launched immediately. Pilots scrambled in pajamas, taking off with whatever munitions were loaded, some with depth charges, others with no weapons. He turned his formation toward a rain squall 5 miles away for cover, ordered maximum speed, and commanded escorts to generate smoke. At 0650, he sent an uncoded distress call under attack by Japanese cruiser force 4, battleships 7. Cruisers, position 11, 46, north 126, 20, east request immediate assistance. The message reached every American unit, triggering panic. Kincaid realized the northern approach was unguarded. Halsey was too far to help. At Dairo 701, Japanese salvos landed among the carriers. Yamato's 181-inch shells weighed 3,220 pounds. Heavy cruiser 8-inch shells and Congo's 14-inch guns added to the barrage. Taffy 3 zigzagged, chasing splashes, steering toward shell impacts to confuse Japanese gunners. The rain squall at 0706 gave 10 minutes of cover, but as Taffy 3 emerged at 0716, the Japanese had closed the range. Sprague ordered his destroyers to attack with torpedoes. Commander Ernest Evans of USS Johnston, a Cherokee and Creek Indian, had already turned toward the enemy at 0710. Johnston charged at 35 knots, laying smoke to obscure her approach. At 0707, she engaged heavy cruiser Kumano with her 5-inch guns. Her radar-directed fire scored over 45 hits, devastating Kumano's superstructure. At 0720, from 10-300 yards, Johnston launched 10 torpedoes. 1 or 2 hit Kumano's bow, tearing it off and forcing her to withdraw with Suzuya. At 0730, Yamato fired a 9-gun salvo at Johnston, mistaking her for a light cruiser. 3 181-inch shells struck, destroying her after engine room, severing power to 3 gun turrets and killing many crew. Evans, wounded with 2 fingers severed and his shirt blown off, relocated to the fantail, shouting orders to manual steering crews. Johnston kept fighting with 2 forward guns. USS Hoel and USS Heermann launched their own torpedo runs. Hoel fired 5 torpedoes at Congo from 9,000 yards, forcing the battleship to maneuver and cease firing temporarily. Hoel then fired at Haguro, hitting her engineering spaces but absorbed over 40 hits. Her bridge and engine room were destroyed, and she sank at 0855 with 187 of 273 crew. Lost Heermann fired torpedoes at Haruna from 4,400 yards, missing but forcing a turn. At 0754, Heermann crossed between Congo and Chikuma at point-blank range, disrupting their fire and escaping with minimal damage. The destroyer escorts attacked at 0742. Samuel B. Roberts, under Lieutenant Commander Robert Copeland, pushed her boilers to 287 knots. Copeland told his crew, "This will be a fight against overwhelming odds from which survival cannot be expected. We will do what damage we can." At Aero 1810, Roberts fired 3 torpedoes at Chokai from 4,000 yards, hitting her stern. A Taffy 2 bomb hit finished Chokai. Roberts then fired 608 rounds at Chikuma in 35 minutes. Gunner's mate Paul Carr kept Mount 52 firing despite a shell hit. At 0851, an 8-inch shell destroyed the engine room and a powder charge exploded, killing Carr, who died holding a shell. Roberts sank at 1005 with 89 of 224. Crew killed. American aircraft swarmed the Japanese. Taffy 3's pilots attacked with depth charges and dry runs. Taffy 2 launched 70 sorties, sinking Suzuya Chikuma, and Chokai Gambier Bay fell behind and was targeted by Chikuma Tone and Haguro. At Aero 810, shells hit her flight deck and engine room. By Aero 850, she was dead in the water and sank at EO 907 with U-147 of 800 crew lost. Other carriers survived heavy damage through maneuvering and smoke. At EO 925, Kurita ordered a retreat, fearing a larger American force. His ships were scattered by destroyer attacks, airstrikes, and smoke. His command and control collapsed, believing he faced fleet carriers, American radar gunnery, smoke screens, superior damage control, and over-penetrating Japanese shells. Reduced damage, courage, and audacity convinced Kurita he faced a stronger force. At 1050, kamikaze attacks began. A Zero hit Kitkin Bay, causing flooding, but she survived. St. Lo was hit by a kamikaze at 1053, exploding and sinking at 1125. Taffy 3 lost 4 ships, Johnston, Hoel, Samuel B. Roberts, and Gambier Bay, plus St. Lo to kamikaze. Total casualties were 1161 killed and 913 wounded. Survivors faced 50 hours in shark-infested waters. The invasion beaches remained secure. Kurita retreated, losing 3 cruisers and a destroyer. The Battle of Leyte Gulf saw Japan lose 26 warships and over 10,500 men. The Imperial Japanese Navy ceased to be a strategic force. American losses were 6 ships and 2,833 killed Taffy 3's stand saved, MacArthur's 13,000 troops. Taffy 3 received the Presidential Unit Citation. Evans earned the Medal of Honor. Copeland, Kintberger, and Hathaway received Navy Crosses. The battle showed how courage and tactics could defy odds. USS Johnston was found in 2021 at 280 feet, and Samuel B. Roberts in 2022 at 221 feet, both protected as war graves. Their story stands as a testament to naval valor. Fleet Admiral Nimitz called it special dispensation from the Lord Almighty. Historian Samuel Morrison wrote, "In no engagement has the United States Navy shown more gallantry, guts, and gumption."